Rafter P Construction is the design-build contractor for all of your construction needs. Quality and customer satisfaction will always remain our top priority. The American dream has inspired the Rafter P team to push to be community leaders and support the local youth because that is our future. Let's now talk with the founder and owner, Brad Pryor.
Hey guys, today we're going to explain the directional design of your outdoor space. So that is a wide open subject from all markets that we're in, from the farm and ranch to the residential to the commercial. And it does develop a lot of the infrastructure because, you know, if you're going to design an arena, you're going to need airflow. You need to be out of the sun a certain way. You know, if you need an outdoor space for your barn dominium, you need the same thing, airflow. You don't want to put an outdoor space in the north wind, so you want to try to get it where you can get the north wind block, and you want to try to get the southeast or southwest wind. So those things are very beneficial when we're going out there to get that stuff figured out, you know, in the front end of this stuff, and things you need to be thinking about. What do you see on your stuff, like when people are asking you things, you know, like a shop or all those kind of things? You see anything that challenges that?
Yeah, I mean, definitely airflow with pretty much everything. I've obviously, you know, if somebody tells me, hey, I want to build this house, and you know, I'm going to be on the backyard or back porch more than I'm going to be inside, and that happens a lot. Right. And you know, obviously, if you've ever been in Texas in February, you don't want that facing north. Right. You know what I mean? And actually, a funny story, I actually went to a customer about 6 months ago, and he wanted us to build a big building in front of his horse barn because for some reason they built the horse barn with the runs on the north side of the building. Right. So he definitely felt the benefit of not doing that and stuff like that. Just some things that, you know, it might look good that way and all that, but we want it to function right. Yeah. And airflow and door placement, window placement, to get that draft is a big important thing.
I think it's a common thing too in the barn dominiums. Part of it is, okay, well, you know, the thought of, okay, well, I want to, you know, be at the kitchen and I want to serve through the kitchen sink, or I want to serve out of here, or when I'm at the sink, I want to be able to look out the window. When I look out my front door, I'm sitting on the porch, I want to face all these different directions. I want to be able to, look at the pond, we're sitting outside. I want to be able to look down the road if you're way off the road at a certain, out a window. Like, all these things have to play. It's things that you need to think about when you have that floor plan picked out, outdoor space. Okay, when Brad gets here, we're going to talk about infrastructure. These are the things that I want you to be thinking about and looking at this video and say, okay, well, that makes a lot of sense. So when he gets here, I want this far off the road. I want to be able to see this out my front door. I want to look out the kitchen window, or I want my barn facing this way, but I'm probably going to put the runs. I mean, we've done that a million times. We brought that up. It looked good on the property the way they wanted it, but in the end, those runs would only been good for a certain amount of time with the Dutch doors, because he'd had to keep the horses shut up all the time. During the winter, it's one of the most important times. They get restless, so they need to exercise in the sunlight. But I think that helps a lot with that. In an outdoor space, there's furniture, barbecue galore. There's so many different things that you can go check out how the barbecue grill lays out, or a green egg, or there's a lot of plans that come to us, like there ain't any walk room between an island on the outside because the grill takes up so much room, or they hadn't even thought about patio furniture. Like, there's so many places to go explore that stuff. So when we get to that process and get it built, then you go look for furniture, you're kind of limiting yourself to what you can put out there. And I hate for you to think through the space and have all these things, envisioned, and then you get it done. It's not gonna work. Yep, so. Exactly.
Well, and that kind of leads into, with the direction of the outdoor areas and stuff like that, it also we just got to start looking at elevation differences as well. How the elevation and laying out, or how much dirt we're gonna need to be able to achieve which direction we're gonna face this building, and, if there's a tree line on one side, or if there's a pond on one side, and all that stuff, if we're getting too close to a bank or whatever, where that kind of could impact the drainage, we definitely want to kind of look at how that's going to work, so that we're not really hindering ourselves when it comes to budget because we want to face it this way. We also have to kind of watch that too.
And I think one of the most common things that I feel like me and you go and challenge with is lots have trees. Most people buy lots with trees for a reason. They like trees, and I don't blame you. They're already there, and it saves you a ton of money not having to buy them. But the general rule is you don't want to cover the drip lines up, the outer edge of the tree. That's what kills them. And when you're looking at that and you got 4 foot of fill and you want to save this tree, well, we start pushing that project towards that tree line, and you know, we start building it up. We got to build that slope too, where you can mow it, you know, without doing, you know, walls and all that stuff out of stone to hold that stuff up. And also too, with pools, any pool builder that says they're gonna take that pool deck and they're gonna push the water towards the house, I'd fire them immediately. We've seen more mistakes and more problems when you're not directionally, you know, putting that pool and the water around it to get it away from the house. So those are all those things that you have to think about when you're thinking elevation. If you want an infinity edge pool, you want to be able to look over, you're building on a side hill, you want that for a reason, you know, and an infinity edge lets you look off to wherever you're at, you know, and I see that a lot too. But I think that helps a lot with knowing what you're expecting out of that outdoor space, and you cover that for yourself. So you have this beautiful build, and then there's this one couple, there's always gonna be something, but it helps to know these dreams and ideas, and keeping exterior photos, keeping interior photos, and this is the elevations I want to see, you know, coming off of that colonial style house where you have steps coming down. I mean, there's all these things that people show us, and we need to discuss to you what those challenges are when we get to site. So there's a price tag with some of that stuff where it might be, hey, you got the perfect property for this.
Yep.
So,
or we can just move it to a different spot on the property that works better.
Right.
You know?
And we do that a lot. Like the other day, we was looking at a lake, or I was looking at a lake lot, and they wanted a house on this side of the lake lot, and then they wanted the shop on this side of the lake lot. Well, it was a very narrow lake lot, and the drainage was going a certain way. Well, it was cheaper to put the house in the lower area, or not the house, but the shop in the lower area, and flip-flop it, because their view is the lake. So let's let's flip-flop this, and they didn't think of it. You know, it was just talking through what they wanted, but nobody asked that question up front with anybody else they were interviewing. So I felt like that helped them tremendously, and they respected that. So anything else you think we need to touch on?
No, I just think, I mean, there's a lot of benefit that comes with us going on site and kind of looking at it, because, you know, we look at probably 30 of these every 2 weeks, and every time we go to one, it's something different. You know, there's different dirt. You scrape the ground off. There's different, you know, what color's the dirt? How's it gonna, you know, what's the plasticity index of this stuff? And we know all that stuff around here, but once we get kind of stretched out, it's really important to know kind of what we're working with, and, you know, all the things that really are going to impact the price of the build.
Yeah. And I catch myself, and I teach this to you, and I taught this to other people. It's like when we get, you know, a half a mile from a project or a mile, I started looking at pool banks, I started looking at bar ditches. It's telling, they're digging something to make those ways for water, and are making it whole for that pond, where if you can start seeing the dirt or the makeup of it, that tells me what's down deep underneath that house. There's a lot of discovery you can do by just driving towards that project. But when I'm going uphill the whole time, it's a lot better than going downhill all the time.